Hello, everybody. Welcome on in. My name is Cameron. This week, I will be hosting the Xbox Full Gaming podcast. Fortunately, I got a friend. Oh, sorry, I should introduce you and then explain.
And I'm Keo live at home. Live at home.
I mean, you are live at home right now. That is
exactly
100% who you are.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this week Matt is off getting married. How dare him? The only commitment that he should have is to this podcast and this community. And he's going to be the one who edits this in the first 5 seconds, so I better keep my mouth shut.
You've got a lead today, so
yeah, I got a lead. I got to.
Don't make me do it.
Look, we already had that train wreck a few episodes back where I think I just put the spot immediately on Alex, but it should be fine. I feel a little comfortable this week.
Don't make Matt rename the episode. So
I already know what the episode's going to be called. It's fun. So yeah, we're live right now over on Twitch at Xbox Hall of Gamers. If you want to come see us, we live usually the same time every week. Yeah, today it's just us two. We're probably going to be going through this whole Microsoft Activision Blizzard court stuff. Lots of juicy little details that come out this week. There's also the Annapurna showcase that was on this morning. And ultimately, there was also a TA article that Chin Doctor doesn't play any video games. Did you see this?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah,
I did. I mean, who was first in the comments for that?
I think the guy was I'm an idiot, or I'm a idiot, which he's not even using proper grammar in his name, so strike one.
Say something.
But yeah, like straight off the bat, we're gonna go straight into the community question.
Actually, straight off the bat, I'm gonna start with something really, really special that really highlights the name of the episode for today. It's a special live song of the week, and here we go. I'm gonna sell myself to Microsoft. 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 There you go. Enjoy.
I'm expected to guess that.
What was that?
I'm expected to guess that.
Oh, well, you can if you like. It's actually, probably a good way to avoid the, copyright issues with this one. It's not the start of the song. It's like the end of the song. So, yeah. It's actually, Bulbasaur, do you want to, oh, there you go. Bulbasaur got it. So there you go. So it's classic MJ. So
I'm just like immediately put on the spot and I'm just like, I've never heard that song or I can't think of it.
Well, it's really funny because every single time I hear that in the song, that's the only thing I could think. It's one of those things where you can never get it out of your mind. And it's been like that for a very long time. It just came up this week as very, very relevant. So I just thought I'd throw it out there. So
I honestly can't remember the last time I had an like an earworm kind of song.
Yeah.
Loops. I think the last time it might have been Call Me Maybe.
Okay. I can see that has the earworm.
Very catchy.
Mm-hmm.
But
capacity.
But yeah, wonderful singing.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks. Hopefully it catches well on the recording.
Obviously the Patreon money that we're putting all towards all the singing lessons towards the host.
Possibly really the last song of the week. So
yeah, Nick, you gotta jump in the chat a bit more. We need Matt needs the feedback on the singing to keep it going.
Yeah.
He's gonna listen to it in like 8 weeks and he's gonna be like, I've got so much that I need to catch up on and pull Matt out for. But it's fine. Anyway,
that's all good.
Let's get into the community questions. So our questionnaire extraordinary Isaac this week asks, hey guys, what is the best glitch you've gotten in a game? Unlock something early, able to beat a really hard part in an unintentional way, etc. Thanks for taking my question. Thank you for asking, as always, Isaac. Straight off the bat, the first thing that comes to mind is Halo MCC. There are so many shortcuts, so many glitches that you can kind of manipulate to your advantage. My favorite would probably be the lasso cutscene saves, because then it was just the ability to, essentially get 3 and 4 done without doing anything.
Yeah.
other than that, like I can only think of the big ones. I can think of I think it's Shutdown in Halo 4 that you fly through a section of the wall and you skip like 2/3 of the level.
Yeah, actually, it's the same with is it the Silent Cartographer or the
Yeah,
Library or something?
Silent
There's a
Cartographer.
couple of really good ones. So,
Silent Cartographer. If you can get down there early enough,
hmm.
you can, I think, force yourself through the wall with the warthog.
Yes, it's so funny trying to force
It
yourself through many places with the
it
Warthog.
took me
So it's yeah,
it took me at least 20 tries, but like when I finally pulled that glitch off, it was so rewarding.
yeah.
Um, there was also there's been a few times that I've done uh the end of Halo 3. I'm failing to remember what the mission's name is now, but you can grenade jump on the left hand side
Hmm.
up, and I used to always get called out for it to not do it because I'd kill myself and all that. Pulled it off
Mm.
flawlessly, ran ahead. It was absolutely great. But yeah,
Um,
most of mine are like Halo. I can't really think of like any really
yeah, I can't
other ones.
really like I've been racking my head ever since the question got put up there. I think I think there was like in 50 Cent Blood on the Sand, there was a thing where you could kill kill the helicopter really quickly or something like that.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that, and I can't even remember what that is. I'd have to look that up, but it's just something like that where
Well,
it just helps you with the boss fight or something. Yeah.
yeah. I'm trying to think of like any other ones. The it's more like a state of particular games. Like there's
Mm.
famous glitches like missing no on the Pokemon Red and Blue.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
stick
yeah, yeah.
out. There's stuff like oh, what else is there? Oh, Assassin's Creed Unity. Like there's games that are launched in such horrible states.
Mm.
Um, that's kind of like made me think of, but that's not the best. Like best glitch is something that comes in your advantage.
Yeah, like for speed runs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like there was a Doom 3 one where you could no clip through levels and all that kind of
Mm,
stuff too. So that was really good.
yeah.
But I never used any of that stuff. It was just good to watch the speed runs,
Yeah.
which is kind of where I don't really use a lot of the glitches. I've not really had anything major really happen to me that I remember, but watching people do the glitches is really, really good. So,
Yeah. I love watching speedrunners. There was one not too recently, sorry, not too long ago with the Nintendo uh announcement. It was like a speedrunner reacting to Mario Wonder. And he was just like
oh,
getting visibly like just like really excited over the fact that they hadn't had a 2D Mario game in what, like 11 years or something.
oh, okay.
As well as the fact that Wonder actually looks like it's going to be like a somewhat fast game.
I've not looked at the trailers for that yet, so
The
I don't know what it's like.
I'm not the biggest like, like I'll play a Mario game just for the sake of playing a
Mm,
Mario game, but like
mm,
if I was over in a mate's house kind of situation, I probably wouldn't go out and buy one myself.
mm.
But it's very much a case of the game looked really good. Like it looked like a new spin on the format. I guess that's the issue too. Like you got games like Mario that have been around for ages, and it's the same old repeated formula.
Yeah, I
Um,
not long ago went and looked at the YouTube videos for a Mario 64 speed run. It's like 60 million versions of a map and you're spinning or getting stuck in a spot and it's like accelerating the character and
yeah,
jittering and then they bounce to a different version of the map, but it's actually in a different location. And
it's
it's
crazy.
so nutty.
It's crazy looking back at some of the nostalgia kind of elements of those like games that you've like really grown up with, and then just
Mm.
seeing them in a new light, essentially. But yeah, I can't really think of any other ones. I know that there's another podcast that I listened to where one of the hosts was playing a recent release where the unlockable achievements was like the second achievement to unlock in the game,
Oh, right.
which
Yeah.
is the
Mm.
best thing to happen in terms of a like worrying about that kind of thing because it's usually the case with it being
Mm.
broken.
Well, there was that thing a few weeks ago where it's like going into the settings menu and just hitting save and over and over again. I don't know what game it was.
Yeah,
One of you guys were playing it, but yeah,
I
yeah.
can't. I can't. Oh, was it She Wants Me Dead?
Maybe.
There was like
Yeah.
She Wants Me Dead, the cat platformer that you
Mm.
could like pause it and manipulate. You could jump in a menu or something like that and then just complete the level.
Yeah, and you just save the new setting in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
something.
need to go back and do that
Mm.
one.
Whatever it was.
Uh Bobsall says if I had to be honest, it is just me, or does the new Mario games add an item that just adds something that we turned into deviant art fan art? Probably a fair point. But
Mm.
listen, we've got a lot of Activision Blizzard Court stuff to go through. There was a lot of interesting
Yep.
news that came out this week that we're going to cover.
Yeah, it was a great question, but I wish I really had an answer to it.
Yeah, it's
So,
one of those things that like you just have a glitch in the moment and
mm,
then you just completely forget about it. Like
hmm
unless it's like really memorable, like Halo MCC was for me. It's not a case of like
mm,
glitches. It's just like a block in the path that I just work around. It doesn't usually benefit me. Yeah,
mm.
really interesting question, Isaac. Keep them up. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Do we want to rip the band-aid off?
All right, let's go. So to start off with, so the FTC case has happened over the end of the last week to this week, and there's been I think you can only fit I think 1,000 people in, like it's like a closed court case with like a bunch of, people can join, but there's only limited capacity.
Yeah.
Um, which is what I found out just recently, looking at one of the guys I was looking at. But I'm just going to reference this. The content that I got, I was following a few people,
Mm.
um, which I highly recommend going out and checking the content, because all of this stuff basically comes from there. They were mostly on the call and referencing it as it goes. So Destin on YouTube, Tom Warren from The Verge, which
Yeah.
is really, really detailed. And I followed Derek Strickland on Twitter, but there were some others that were in there as well, just tweeting all day about it. Yeah, so I'll just go through what I found out today, kind of day by day, but the
Mm.
Cliff Notes versions where I'll just hot topic, I'll just dot point, and then if there's anything you want to talk about with these notes, you just sing out and just say something about it.
I mean,
So,
there's a lot of juicy details in there, so I'm kind of like worried that
mhm,
we're gonna like
mm.
accidentally miss one. So if there's anything in chat that you think we do accidentally skip over, just let us know.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you think we got wrong or there was an update I didn't see,
Yeah.
then definitely heaps of chat interaction today would be really good with some of this
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
So,
That's the other disclaimer too. I don't know the law. Keo
mhm.
does to an
Yeah,
extent.
a little bit. Yeah, it's not an American law, I'm studying law myself, so I know a few things, but unfortunately the American law system is wildly different, and they take an approach that is very aggressive
Yep.
and less fair, you could say. Um, so first off, we will talk about what happened that I haven't really got in my notes, but the Sharpie incident is where I think we'll start. So this is a piece of news that kind of came out the side. By day 4,
Yep.
they had a bunch of documents that they took away from the public because they had, in various ways, there was a Microsoft one as well, I believe, that they had to basically, they were redacted. They had big black lines through the pages, and Sony, for whatever reason, submitted one and scanned it in, and it was done by Sharpie.
Yep.
And the nature of paper, you can actually see what's underneath the Sharpie print. So that's a go
Oh.
Sony for that one. So it was really
Yes.
classic.
So through that incident, a few confidential PlayStation secrets got revealed.
Mhm.
Um, so just going through it, some of these are a little bit hard to make out because of the Sharpie. But developing and producing AAA games often costs over 100 million, requires hundreds or thousands of developers, and takes
Mhm.
years. For instance, development of Horizon Forbidden West, a 2022 Sony Interactive Entertainment first-party release, lasted a total of, I believe it's 5 years. Yeah,
Mhm.
5 years starting in 2017 and ending in 2022. The game cost 212 million to develop, and peak headcount was over 300 full-time employees. Development of The Last of Us Part 2, a 2020 Sony Interactive Entertainment first-party release, took longer. Longer. That one's a little bit hard to make out. I think 20 months. I'm not too sure on that
I
one.
don't have it up, so yeah.
Starting 2015, ending in 2020. Development costs were around. That's once again 320 million. Headcount peaked around 200 full-time employees. In addition to development costs, global marketing costs for AAA games are large, even for established franchise. So also it was revealed that in 2021, over 14 million users by device spent 30% or more of their time playing Call of Duty. Over 6 million users spent more than 70% of their time on Call of Duty. And about 1 million users spent 100% of their gaming time on Call of Duty. Call of Duty players spent an average of 116 hours per year playing Call of Duty. And players spending more than 70% of the time on Call of Duty spent an average of 296 hours on the franchise.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Some interesting details to come out of it.
There was another document that had some redacted stuff that was submitted by Microsoft that I don't know the deal with this one. It was just kind of like profiles of companies that they were looking to acquire.
Yeah, so
and there was still like 13 pages and a lot was redacted, but for whatever reason there was an old version and a new version of the document submitted as well, and the new one had all the redacted pieces in it, and they were looking at purchasing Sega, Bungie. Like this was basically like a giant wish list of potential targets to acquire in that, which we know basically Sega and IO Interactive were potential ones like for a long time, where like if they're going to buy anyone, they're going to buy these two.
Heavily rumored, I should say.
Exactly. Yeah. People talked about it so much that was like it was almost like they were wishing it into existence, kind of.
So there was a few different documents. There was like the consideration set that I put in the Discord the other day, which had like like you said, like Sega, had Devolver, had Team 7,
Square Enix.
Just
was another big one.
Just for more of a consideration kind of stage. And then there was the other one that I saw, two version of, like the revealed one, which was their, I think like an M&A document of like, this is what we would go through and the benefits of applying this studio to our strategy. Which there was, I think Thunderfall was on there.
Yes, I think it was.
Sega. So Thunderfall is probably a name that not a lot of people are familiar with, but they do like SteamWorld. They did publishing for the Gunk, I believe. I think they'd done some mobile stuff. I think that's why Microsoft was looking at them. I'm trying to think of the other.
Well, they were looking at Zynga too before Rockstar picked them up. So,
which it just came out to timing, but then King was poised to be the better acquisition in that case anyway.
Yeah, they wanted something bigger. They went for Activision Blizzard instead. So, yeah.
I'm just trying to. Yeah, so Sega, Bungie, IO Interactive, Supergiant Games for obviously Hades. I'm gonna stuff up pronouncing it. Niantic. Niantic,
actually,
which actually actually laid off a whole bunch of people today, and I'm pretty sure
it
canceled 2 projects.
Okay, I didn't see that.
It was. I'm pretty sure. 15 hours ago they laid off 230 employees. They're most famously known for Pokemon Go.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And they did like 1 or 2 things before that, but
I'm pretty sure they had they had 2 projects. They had like Marvel and NBA game they're working on. But yeah, that's a little bit of sad news as well.
Um,
Just spinning off that.
yeah, the main one that came out in its own separate document was the Square Enix one as well.
Yeah,
They wanted to purchase Square Enix with day or date Game Pass content, basically having it fill out the roster of Game Pass. That was in speculation for a long time that PlayStation was looking to purchase Square, and it's why they're kind of bolstering their exclusivity with Square Enix at the moment to potentially pick that up.
yeah,
And then, one of the things that came out of this was that Xbox was buying content, but it basically had to buy publishers and developers to stop the exclusivity going to
yeah.
PlayStation. So when you're looking at things like Starfield, that was said to be potentially PlayStation exclusive, they pretty much just went up and bought Bethesda to stop that from getting exclusivity over on PlayStation.
Because they already had the Deathloop and the
Mm.
Ghostwire Tokyo deals at that point. And the
Yes,
other, I
they
don't know
did.
if this was before or after, but Phil Spencer commenting on the fact that Sony uses the 30% revenue split from Xbox games being on PlayStation to
Yeah, that
fuel
was with
those.
Sarah Bond, I think, on day two. There was a little bit with that popping up, and sometimes they went like 80-20 or something like that, depending on the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Which is oh man, that's rough though that they're using the money
mm,
from titles such as like Minecraft, Elder Scrolls, Fallout 76, and that
yeah, that was a
to fuel
huge
that.
thing. Yeah, so they were basically taking the money that goes from the games like Minecraft Dungeons and stuff like that. Anyone who hasn't been following it, was basically being taken from Microsoft to pay for the costs of having them on the platform, but then Sony were using those fees to buy the exclusivities. So it wasn't really costing them anything to get exclusives. They
Yeah,
were basically, using Microsoft's money to get those.
yeah.
So,
Using
um,
Microsoft's own money
mm,
to block games, and not even be a case of like just bringing them to PlayStation. It was strictly a case of blocking
mm.
games.
Yes, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was like actively working against it. I was wondering with all of this though, if the deal goes through and so let's just say Activision deal gets approved, and if Sony were buying Square Enix, would Xbox have the favorable point in saying that they made Call of Duty accessible across platforms? Would they pretty much demand Sony to allow for the Square Enix stuff that's been exclusive to come across to Xbox? Like, will they have that behind them as like a precedent, just to kind of like, well, you did this and we allowed you to have Call of Duty. That was kind of the thing.
Yeah.
So if looking at something like Square Enix, should you really be blocking Square Enix from coming onto Xbox? So,
Yeah, because the rough thing at the moment is like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but from my perspective, it looks as if Call of Duty, they're making the argument for Call of Duty to be on both, PlayStation and Xbox.
mhm.
Um, but then there's stuff popping up like the fact that they wouldn't be able to like provide development kits for a PS6, for example, and like the judge hitting back and
Yes.
saying like, well,
Mm.
that's a Sony management issue. That's not a consumer issue.
Yeah. So the big thing, yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's right. The case is about the consumers, right?
Hmm.
And the business side of stuff on the back end, you imagine like them not getting development kits for PS4 to PS5. So one of the things that popped up with this was, um, they wanted to make like a PS5 version of Minecraft Dungeons,
Yeah.
but Sony weren't giving them early access or anything to the dev kits because they believe that what would happen would that Microsoft would basically deconstruct the tech to go, this is how this works, we can compete against it and try to use it as their advantage. So
Because
yeah, so and that could happen with Call of Duty, and that's one of the fears, really, I guess. So
yeah, like I guess I don't want to say it's a fair point to make. Like it's an
Mm,
understandable point that they wouldn't want to provide PS. Like it's kind of the case of you can't have it both ways.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
if you want to like do something like have Call of Duty on, it's gonna
Hmm.
have to be a case of you're either going to provide that or you're gonna have
Yep.
to mute like run behind a little.
Yeah, well, I mean, guess who has dev kits to make MLB The Show for Xbox?
Yeah.
Like, so Sony has a capacity to make Xbox games because they've got access to dev kits through, one of their companies. So, you know, but yeah, so that's a
All right.
that's a whole thing.
I'm just trying.
So,
I'm just trying to think of like what else. So
um, no, tell me what were you?
I was gonna say yeah. So we talked about this. So yeah, going into the dev kits thing, it was revealed that Sony wouldn't send dev kits out
Mm.
uh, for I believe Minecraft.
Yeah,
Yeah.
their
So they
main
were.
point was Minecraft. I believe it was either Minecraft or Minecraft Dungeons, or probably both of them.
Yeah.
Just Minecraft generally.
So thus they
Mm.
won't be. That's why there's no PS5 SKU
Yeah,
for
yeah,
Minecraft.
exactly.
Uh, Obviously we talked about Xbox considering multiple studio purchases,
Hmm.
purchasing exclusivity. There was the comment that Game Pass is essentially universally disliked by Jim Ryan.
Yeah, yeah, that was something that they were using, but then immediately we had developers showing up on Twitter going, I think it was
You don't
I
speak for
think
us.
Destin said it was the Jedi Survivors one, guys. Oh,
Okay.
Respawn. Yeah, they
Respawn.
were tweeting, and I saw another couple underneath some of the stuff Derek was saying too. So yeah,
I
I
was
couldn't tell you who they were,
I was
but
gonna say there's people like one of my favorites is Mike Rose that runs No More Robots, which is
hmm.
responsible for publishing essentially like a whole bunch of games that are here Game Pass. Descenders was their surefire hit.
Yep. Yep.
There's been Descenders, there's been Hypnospace Outlaw, there's been Yes Your Grace, which I've talked endlessly about how much I love.
Hmm.
Um, Spirity's coming out. Like No More Robots has a really good relationship with Microsoft, and I always
Yeah.
see Mike Rose speaking so positively about it. Um, it's not something. Yeah, it's just a scare tactic essentially. Um, there was other discussions around, like I guess keeping in the same aspect of the Game Pass stuff. Bobby Kotick doesn't agree with Game Pass style services,
Mm.
but
Yeah,
essentially
he was confirming.
yeah,
Yeah.
the vibe of the conversation was like, well, once the deal's done, it's not my problem.
It doesn't matter
I don't
anymore. It's
have
not
to I
part
don't
of
have to
his.
like it. I don't have to
Yeah.
like it.
But I mean, as CEO, he still has to say we,
Yeah,
and he was saying we because it's still him.
yeah.
So, you really can't do anything about that.
Um,
Where was his stuff? Day four, I think. Yeah, he also got questioned about the work culture, and
oh,
that was
did
all
he?
pretty much just dismissed. Yeah. So there
I
wasn't
missed
really
that.
a whole lot that came up with that. So um yeah, more yeah, that was really all I took from the Bobby stuff.
Yeah,
Satya Nadella was saying stuff like it was more about where people spend their time, and the time is a good point. But then it brought up stuff like the subscription services relating to Microsoft Office and trying to get things on the same level and things like that. Which he had some good points apparently, but I think cloud was a big deal that he was talking about as well.
yeah,
Um, so he talked about cloud being complementary to consoles, not a substitute. Um,
yep.
I mean, you could imagine like something like Call of Duty, for example, not having to install 250 gigabytes of Call of Duty and just playing it through the cloud. That would be amazing. So because I mean, I can't install any of those new games. So he
They are
also
massive.
said, yeah, they're huge. He also wanted to say that if it was up to him, he'd get rid of exclusives. And that's one of the kind of the things that came up a little bit on Twitter where people were talking about exclusives, and I actually chimed in there, and I'm like, well, people don't really understand exclusive
I,
like
I, I
as a
do
term,
I do agree though.
really.
Like honestly, the perfect
Mm,
world we wouldn't have to worry.
yeah,
Like the hardware would be the deciding factor, but it
yeah,
is very much a actually to further lead into that.
mm,
We haven't even talked about the emails relating to Peter Hines, essentially about like the Bethesda versus. I don't know if this was the end of last week or if it was.
it might have been in the first couple of days,
Yeah.
yeah. So
So
this is kind of like the meat at the end of it, and
yeah,
then we can kind of have a look at some of those little things that kind of popped up. But yeah, you can go into that one for
yeah.
sure
So
if you've got it there.
the Peter Hines one was essentially they'll I don't know if grilling's the right word. They were questioning him about an email exchange where it's like, well, why hasn't you know our game's exclusive? The whole
Mm,
stuff about the Activision Blizzard, like why weren't we given a heads up? And that kind of content
yes.
being different. Because obviously, like when you're working as like a video game developer, ultimately, in the end of the day, you want your games to be seen by as many people as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And tying into the Nadella stuff, it's pretty much a case of you like it would be great if we didn't have to worry about exclusivity deals because everybody
Mm,
wins. Obviously, like hardware and that's gonna dictate like what games go to what consoles and that as well. Like I wouldn't imagine, like Call of Duty launching on a Switch might be feasible, but at a lowest like hardware kind of situation.
yeah. Yeah, which
So
they're looking at alternatives or have to make a separate game completely. So they either do it in
yeah,
cloud or yeah.
yeah. So it's I think it was interesting for him to say that, but then he led into the thing of well, Sony's kind of dictated the playing field, and
Hmm.
we've just had to jump to their standards. And the other thing too, like Xbox is its own entity. Obviously, like with Microsoft's money, but they were kind of competing for a long time. They're like not at the same level. Whereas then now
Yeah.
stuff's obviously changed. Phil has a much clearer, I guess, strategy around it. Um, I know. I was just interesting comments. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. On the exclusivity stuff, like the general consumer doesn't know the difference between a first party and a third party game,
mm,
which is the how you weaponize it. You're
yeah,
like, okay, Final Fantasy is a PlayStation game because that's what the association is.
it's just marketing. End of the
So
day.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So and you just grab hold of the people that don't know, they just want to play games, they know what they want to play. That's what they're doing. That's how you grab the people with the exclusives. So yeah.
What else was there? There was Bobby Kotick also saying that he made an error of judgment not bringing Call of Duty to Nintendo Switch.
Yes. So with that one, there was a problem with them when they decided no, it was basically too late. They
Yeah,
didn't have access to the dev kits halfway through a generation, then you basically don't have like the time to build a
it's
game
too
that
little,
will
too
sit on the
late. Yeah,
platform. Yeah, exactly. So it's like when's the next one coming out, which leads into the info with like with the Switch 2 or whatever that's going to be, you know, he's more than happy to lean into that and actually,
I
start developing.
I
But
wonder if the viewpoint, like obviously they haven't really, like he's just said I made a bad judgment when he saw the prototype of
mm,
the Switch. Um,
mm,
it's interesting too to go from the generational switch of the Wii U to the Nintendo Switch,
mm,
and I guess seeing that from like a standpoint, you could kind of like be like, it's
yeah.
it's the same thing, like quotation marks. It's the same
Well,
thing.
that would
Um,
be the perfect example. The Wii U, that's probably what's going through his mind.
hmm,
The Wii U was not worth it. There's
like
something wrong with the tech
yeah,
or it's not viable. And everybody, including Nintendo, know that the Wii U wasn't completely viable, as it's like a half step to a new product,
yeah.
and the new product was a Switch.
Because
So
they had Black Ops 2 and Ghost on the
yeah, they
Wii
did.
U, But
Yep.
it's just one of those things of like how much money would they have wasted there, because obviously there would have been that perception as well of the
Mm.
Switch is. I mean, I just Switch has this kind of perception that everybody's kind of like held onto, that it's the family friendly console,
Yeah,
and
exactly. Yeah.
it has the most adult eShop out of anybody other than Steam.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Oh dear. If
Oh,
you want your raunchy visual novels, you know where to go.
yeah.
Anyway,
It actively advertises hentai, so yeah.
um,
Uh, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, we talked about the Call of Duty revenue. Another thing with the Peter Hines stuff before is he said that they wouldn't have released Starfield in 6 weeks, 9 weeks, some whatever it was.
Yeah, that's
If it
talking
was from
about
PlayStation.
the back end of like if you're going to release a console exclusive,
Yeah.
it's much easier to develop for one platform. So it's that same old argument. It's just like, do you get it out in 6 months, only developing for one platform, and that's PC, and then making that work for Xbox, or do you try to develop it for PlayStation as well, or
Yeah.
Switch and everything else? So, mm,
Just trying to think.
yeah. So, um,
Did we talk about Hitman, the Hitman RPG, and the Indiana Jones?
no, I don't know. I haven't seen anything about the Hitman stuff.
All right.
But
So,
yeah, go for
uh,
it.
Hitman's IO Interactive, yeah.
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
So IO Interactive announced, I want to say like a month or two ago,
Mm.
that they were working on an RPG.
Oh,
Uh,
this is the Xbox
yeah.
thing.
So
Okay.
yeah, they're
Yep.
working on an RPG. Essentially, that's as much information as we know. Essentially, the core documents have revealed that that Hitman game is going to be an Xbox exclusive, and there's
Hmm.
also a discussion around Indiana Jones. Originally, was meant to be coming to both consoles, but the terms have reworked based off the conversation that Marvel, like obviously Xbox went to Disney, said, we want Indiana Jones for our platform. After the Bethesda deal, essentially because Marvel have Spider Man, so they
Yeah.
reworked the contract to be to have that exclusive situation.
Who owns Indiana Jones? Is it Disney?
I believe they own the IP, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so it's just they went to Disney and went, they have Marvel we want. Yeah,
Or
Indy. Or, you know,
yeah, because I'm wondering if they were trying to tee that up with Dial of Destiny, because obviously that's coming out. This game's probably been in development for
mm,
quite a while now. I imagine it'll be a COVID kind of situation where it's just been delayed because of it.
maybe.
And
Mm.
I guess that's the other thing too. Taking it and freeing it up to just be one console would be one thing. All right, so Zach's saying Disney owns Indie. I'm kind of like in a weird spot of like, do they own it? And
Oh,
what was the
because
old what was the old studio?
well,
LucasArts, right?
LucasArts is Lucasfilm is the movie division,
Yeah.
and they own Lucasfilm, which obviously Star Wars.
So Indie's part of
And
Lucas.
then
So Lucas, yeah, okay,
LucasArts was, connected to that integrally, and then it's basically, yeah, I
yeah,
guess all lumped in.
yeah.
So yeah, no, that makes sense. So
I'm just trying to think if there's anything. I'm gonna. It's gonna be like one thing. Um, props to the judge. The judge has been like
yes,
absolutely amazing for all this. From
yeah,
all the
definitely.
discussions I've seen, like
Let's see.
no nonsense with a lot of the bullshit that FTC is trying to pull. There
Yeah,
was all.
we had the controversy of Dr. Lee on the third day, where
Uh,
Dr. Lee was basically not answering questions for like 2 or 3 hours, and then gave a wishy-washy answer at the end,
yeah.
to do with the FTC stuff. So
There was the Canada stuff today. Yeah.
yes, that was all new today.
Um,
They tried to make a submission, but
it's like,
Microsoft turned around at the start and said it's too late.
yeah,
So
it's
yeah.
like what are you doing? Kind of just like
Mm,
it's like mate, yeah, what are you doing?
hmm Um,
there's so many tidbits in this stuff as well.
mm,
I'm just like
mm.
having a quick look now just to see if there's
Well,
anything.
even today, they have FTC went back to the old meeting where they said Bethesda games, Xbox said that they want to be first, better, or best on Xbox, and we've heard that in the past as well, because that kind of came up in a lot of I guess the selling point to people when they were when they were buying Bethesda. So we've all heard that before, I think. So, uh,
What is the Xbox Mobile Store? Or working on Xbox
mhm,
Mobile Game Store, but Apple and Google
mhm.
being blockers.
Yep, pretty
Um,
much.
Strategies around
Xbox,
Xbox Game Pass into tiers. Um,
yeah, which comparing that today against the PlayStation, because the new PlayStation tiers that came out at the end of the year as well.
there was Sarah Bond explaining what Game Pass was to the judge, and then that honestly that should be the ad campaign. It was like, wasn't it essentially a response of just like, wait, you're saying I can
Oh,
play one
she
low
totally
subscription price
she
and play?
totally related to the judge and said, "Oh, my even old fathers can enjoy." And she's like, and the judge is like,
Yeah,
"Oh, well, my 76-year-old father enjoys this," and it's
like
just
loves Diablo and oh, it's
yeah,
just great.
would have just she would just should have been there the whole time playing,
Yeah,
playing advocate for Xbox, so but she can only say so much.
yeah,
Leading off of that
mm,
though, the Phil Spencer
yeah.
actually had some meaty stuff in that as well, where he had to basically explain how accounting works because um, the FTC didn't understand like how an acquisition isn't, losing money. The money's just not gone. And
Mm,
Phil had to explain it's more like buying a house where there's a transfer of assets where the Activision is worth more than what you're putting in, but you're putting your money where it's most useful for
mm.
the purchase and then building it from there. So yeah, and he
Um,
was asked so many times if Call of Duty would be on PlayStation. Is Call of
fan,
Duty on PlayStation?
fanboy moment. Absolute
Yeah.
fanboy. Sega saying that they're not now open to a Microsoft acquisition, which is a bit
hmm
sad. Kind of want to
Mm.
see Sonic as an Xbox mascot. Pretty cool.
I think they've got a perfectly good relationship. The
Yeah.
the relationships Sega have is basically akin to what's happening over with Square Enix on PlayStation.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
probably fair.
So yeah, where they're getting a whole lot of, the Yakuza stuff, all that coming. There's like
Mm.
two or three of those, the Persona stuff. Like
Yeah,
so Xbox is getting all the attention with that. So
yeah. It's gonna be very interesting with the JRPGs coming in. Yeah, I can't think of anything.
yeah,
A
that
lot of
is. Mm, we mentioned a couple of things at the end of last week, and it was like Xbox losing the console war and new consoles in 2028. But outside of that, that is a lot of the data right there. So it's the meaty stuff. So
uh, yeah, I'm trying to yeah. So I found the MA final watch list.
yep.
So they were looking to seek Thunderful for expertise in cross-gen
hmm
casual mobile games, for audience expansion. Supergiant for developer of top indie games, including Hades 2020.
Yep.
Niantic for very strong technology infrastructure, focusing on XR and innovative mobile experiences. Because obviously, this whole oh dear, dear, dear.
Mm. All right.
And
Yeah.
sorry.
So
Oh, yeah. So what else was there? Playrex, Zynga, strong franchises and content breadth. Bungie for owner of AAA franchises with an established ability to ship and scale games. Owner of IO Interactive for AAA franchises with specialized expertise in regional IP game launches. And
mm.
Scopely, which I'm not familiar with. Very strong
Sounds familiar. I don't know.
infrastructure to support non-owned IP. Opportunity
Hmm.
to complement Xbox game services IP.
But one of their pages just had like 1,000 plus like potential acquisition. components. It's just like it's all their big, you know. It's not only I think games at that point. So it's probably a document that didn't really need to be submitted, probably. So
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm very interested to see what the response is going to be. I
Yep,
guess
it's closing
tomorrow
up. Well,
or next week.
we'll
Or...
know very, very quickly, but Microsoft will tell everybody very, very quickly,
Yeah.
but the documents themselves become publicly viewable on the 12th of July.
Yeah.
So, and then everyone will be able to read through whatever they want. So,
Quick thing too. The one of the people that challenged the whole Game Pass is destructive was the football manager, studio head.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
yeah, basically, in a statement to Eurogamer Sports Interactive head Miles Jacobson says he disagrees with Ryan's claims. Every
Mm,
studio is going to have different opinions, and different studios will have different data because different games work well in different situations. For us, there's
mm.
been nothing but positive on all three platforms. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's been pretty good.
Cool. All right. Well, we're pretty much done with the FTC stuff today,
Yep.
I
Now
reckon.
I get to talk about. Oh, okay, actually, I need to talk about something else. First, Chin Doctor doesn't play many games.
Mm?
So
Big news article for the week.
yeah, big. That's the big news article for the week. Ignore all the FTC stuff. It's
Mhm.
Chin Doctor doesn't play many games. So essentially, what happened a few days ago was TA put an article out saying that the Xbox achievement issue had been fixed. The issue that we're referring to is when you go into your games and app library, having the 0G achievements essentially come up. Um, yeah, so they put a whole thing of if you've been pressing stubbornly, if Xbox has been stubbornly presenting you zero game score as you progress for all your games, be glad to hear that they fixed it. Um, and then essentially, it's not the case. It's not fixed.
Oh, really? So how much of it is not fixed? Tell me more.
That is a very good question because Microsoft have not publicly said anything about
Mm.
this.
Yeah, I have
Um,
heard some stuff on the Discords about it being really, really slow and
yeah,
then suddenly updating,
yeah.
stuff like
So
that. So,
we're a very the thing is too. You got to consider we're a very niche audience. We play
mm,
so like we're not your 20k gamer score kind of Joe Blows
mm.
that have played. Like the problem with us is we're getting to the point of like playing 1,000 titles and then really slowing down.
Yeah, and you
So,
imagine taking that profile and going and trying to view anything or logging into a 360 console and trying to see your achievement list.
jeez.
It's not pretty.
Trying to get it. This is okay. This is my only real concern is for the console generations going forward
Mm,
is the content library. Like content library is such a big thing.
mhm.
Todd's on like this. It's a little thing, but it's a big thing. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like our library's gonna like I'm still gonna be gaming in my 30s and 40s. Like, um,
I'll still be working on my Xbox 360 backlog in my
I
50s.
mean that's the other thing too. I've seen some people popping up asking about the 2025 clock for the 360.
Yeah, I don't know
I
anything about that.
I need to find more details out, but I'm wondering if it affects save games. There's a little bit of concern there. But yeah,
Mm.
I thought I would quickly chuck that in because I feel like TA's kind of put their foot in it a little bit before announcing Mark's, you know.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
anyway,
Yeah. Mm.
let's talk about indie games. That's my favorite topic.
Yes. All right, here we
So
go.
Annapurna, one of the studios that Xbox did want to purchase,
Hmm.
supposedly, put on a showcase this morning, and they announced 6 games coming to Game Pass, as well as PlayStation exclusive Stray is getting Xbox release date of August 10th.
Yes.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, I'll be honest, kind of could go either way on Stray. The fact that
Hmm.
it's not coming to Game Pass, I'm kind of like, maybe I pick
Oh,
it up,
that's
maybe not.
okay.
I, like,
They
I,
can they can
yeah,
make bank on that not being in Game Pass. It's fine. It's their big one. So,
yeah, it's fine. But I'm very interested in some of these other games. So yeah, Stray's coming to Series X and S and Xbox One on August 10th. We got a release date for Cocoon that was shown
Yep.
off last year, which was September 29th. IGN
Yep.
mistakenly put it up as August, starting off. I got very upset because I thought I
To
could
your
play
disappointment.
this. I thought I could play this in the plane when I was going to Gamescom, and now I can't. To a T.
Yep.
Sorry, I should explain what Cocoon is. It is a world-leaping puzzle adventure game. It looks amazingly trippy. I believe it's from one of the creators of Limbo and Inside, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe so. It was one of my picks for last week when we were doing our talk about it.
It does look very interesting. We then have To a T, which is a 3D narrative game from the Katamari Damacy game designer Kita Takakashi. I'm not sure.
I don't know the name. So
this is you need Matt here for these kind of Japanese work.
Oh, yeah. It's like Kita Takahashi. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. So Nikita saw this and was immediately amazed for it, and she said, "I need to get this." You play as a teenager with an odd you're a teenager in a T posed, like 2AT, who is trying to live a normal life in a small coastal town, but soon discovers a new ability granted to them by the extraordinary posture, and they start to uncover more about the mysterious lineage. 2AT is coming to Xbox Series XS, Xbox One, and Xbox Game Pass, but we haven't got a release date yet. We also got Flock, which was previously announced at the last showcase, coming soon to Xbox Series X, Xbox One, and Game Pass. We had Ghost Bike, which looks pretty interesting. Adventure game that puts you in the shoes of a streetwise kid on a mission to revive the last of the Ghost Bikes, the magical curious who rode between the world of the living and the dead. Semi-open world, stylized kind of art style, challenges at your own pace and repairing bike. That's coming to Game Pass next year. Bounty Star, which is... I don't know anything about Bounty Star.
Yeah, I'm only really just having a look at some of these now because I've been on the case all day, like just looking up all the FTC stuff. I've not looked, but yeah, I mean Bounty Star looks good.
Yeah, that
it's
one
like a mech
that
kind
one
of game.
I'm pretty unsure on. And then the final one was Thirsty Suitors, which is the upcoming adventure game, which is being described as a baby Yakuza. Which I'm
yeah, okay.
I'm pretty keen. Like, it's got a nice art style and that to it. And I believe that was also next year, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not seeing a date for that.
Oh, sorry,
November 2.
2nd. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So yeah, Annapurna's bringing quite a few games to Game Pass, which is pretty good to see.
And that's just the Game Pass stuff. Did they have some other stuff that they announced?
Yeah, there was some other stuff, but I don't know if it was on. I don't know if it was coming to both consoles or if it was.
Yeah. Okay.
They actually got a inside development studio that's working on a Blade Runner 2049 game.
Yeah, that's the one I saw the buzz for, and I'm like, oh, I should actually watch this.
Yeah, that was apparently set between the first and the second movie, I think. I'll be honest, I don't know anything about Blade Runner. I've never seen the films, but that should not surprise anybody that's listening.
Yeah, I mean the original book. If you don't know that, it's what is it? Something about Android sheep or something.
Yeah,
I can't remember. Yeah, so it's been a while since I've actually looked at that. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a few other. There was Mundane is getting a free update, which I don't know anything about as well, to be honest. Oh, sorry. Mundane is getting a free update to coincide with its release on PS5, Xbox Series X, and Nintendo Switch. It's hand-drawn visuals, but the update will provide a clearer presentation and higher frame rates. Does it have a release date? It says updated versions also available. So yeah, I don't know. Storyteller coming to Netflix, which is make your own drama game. That came back in March. Yeah, the Blade Runner 2033 Labyrinth game announcement. But yeah, I think that's essentially it.
Mm.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not seeing anything different.
So yeah, there's that. And then I've got like two more news stories I quickly want to jump through.
Yep.
So have you heard of 11-bit studios?
I actually don't know what they do.
So 11-bit studios is the team behind Frostpunk.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay.
And I believe also This War of Mine.
Oh, okay. I've not played that either, so.
I need
Mm,
to play This War of Mine. Yeah, they're published in Belfer. Okay, cool.
mm,
Um, yeah, so they just put out an announcement essentially today that yeah, we're bringing part of our portfolio to Game Pass. I can't share the list of titles yet, but it's going to be a blast for both Xbox Game Pass and 11-bit studios fans. I am really getting like I need to sit down and just play Frostpunk because it is
yeah.
very difficult game. But there's a game that I'm releasing that's very similar to
Mhm.
that I'm working with that's very similar to it. Um, so I kind of feel like Frostpunk 2 might be coming to Game Pass in the future.
So, in saying that, have they done anything outside the stuff that exists on Game Pass already? I mean, Xbox on Xbox. Like where they
Uh,
say portfolio, are there old things?
so I believe they're working on because Frostpunk was such a success. I believe they are working on Frostpunk 2 as well as another game called The Altars, but they haven't really shown anything off.
Right,
Frostpunk
cool.
2 is coming to releasing in 2024. And they even had they showed off a future game show. Actually, it wasn't a future game show; it was PC game show. Sorry, they showed
Hmm.
off trailer that if you pause for a split second on the gavel that's going down, it's like Frostpunk 2 when because they didn't
Oh,
give a
okay.
release date, so it was like
Right.
ah. Um,
Nice.
but you see, they've published a few different games as well. They published South of the Circle, which I played. It's only 2 to 3 hours, voice acted. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. They also did Children of Mortar. That's already hit Game Pass. They did. Sorry, these are published titles
Yeah,
that they've
yeah.
done.
I'm trying to look at their website, but it's really, really slow,
Yeah.
so I can't see anything.
So in terms of Xbox stuff, Moonlighted, Child of Mortar, and South of the Circle that have
Mhm.
all hit Game Pass before. They're also publishing the Invincible and the Tatamage. Yeah, not too sure. As well as developing
Wait.
Frostpunk 2 and the Altars.
The Is it Thermitage? The
Thermitage.
Thermitage?
Okay, that's how you pronounce the word.
Okay. Yeah, nice.
I struggled there.
Yeah, that's okay.
But yeah, that was just a cool little bit of news. I'm actually really excited to see how Frostpunk
Mm.
2 does. I think Frostpunk is going to be one of those games I put a lot of time into on the ROG Ally.
Yeah.
Just because I want to kind of have that experience on the go. And I don't think it's going to be too demanding. But yeah,
Mm.
I mean, there's been a bit of Game Pass news this week from all of this kind of just different discussion. So I'm actually really excited to see what's coming out.
Mm.
And then the other thing I'm going to quickly throw in there that I didn't tell you beforehand, but I thought this was a really cool bit of information this week.
Okay.
So, are you a fan of Alan Wake?
Yes, I am a fan of Alan Wake.
So, do you know that they originally bought the opening quote for Alan Wake from Stephen King for $1?
No, I did not know that. So
Yes.
that's very interesting.
I believe it was this week that it. Yeah, cool. It was 4 days ago. So
Did they start the article? I'd buy that for $1.
yeah, it was Alan Wake's opening quote was purchased for $1 from Stephen King.
Mm.
Stephen King sold the rights to use one of his quotes in the opening of Alan Wake for $1, according to Remedy. Remedy Sam Lake said that he desperately wanted to open the game with a quote from King, whose work is clearly hugely influenced on the first game. Creating the
Yes.
original Alan Wake, I really desperately wanted a quote from him to start it off. It's my understanding he wanted $1 for us to get the rights of it. It was so very generous. The quote in question is nightmares exist outside of logic, and there's little fun to be had in explanations. They're antithetical to the poetry of fear.
Mm.
In a horror story, the victim keeps asking why, but there can be no explanation, and there shouldn't be one. The unanswered mystery is what stays with us the longest, and it's what we'll remember in the end. The quote is from an entertainment article from 2008 entitled Why Hollywood Can't Do Horror, in which King lamented the inability of big studios to develop horror films for a mass audience. So yeah, I thought it was like a really cool little bit of tidbit information that just came up this week that was kind of
Yeah, it's interesting.
yeah.
Like it comes from a time when nobody really gave a shit about their licenses that they were giving out. They weren't giving it a second thought. And the Witcher license was being thrown around and realizing when it gets popular that there's actually they should ask for more money.
Mm.
But you know, so but
Don't.
yeah, it would have
That
been really
old
nice to see
chestnut.
more. Yeah, I know. It'd be nice to see more Stephen King stuff actually, 'cause there's some really good stories in there that just have not made their way to games.
Yeah,
So
I do agree. Man,
I want
okay. That's a very good question then. If you could have any Stephen King IP, I'm gonna say IP, yeah, because he's done short stories. He's done a few
okay.
different things. Um, if you could have any of the IPs adapted into a playable game, what would you ask? What would
I've
you want?
actually got an answer for you straight away on that one.
I do too.
Okay, I think that I would say probably along the lines of games like Vertigo and stuff like that.
Oh
I would
yeah.
say Thinner as a psychological game.
Oh.
So, you know, a little bit of a twist, maybe a bit of like puzzle action adventure kind of thing, but just kind of the reality of something that you've done has a massive consequence and you can't stop it. So, so anyone hasn't seen Thinner, go see it. It's great. So,
I haven't seen Thinner. There was
yeah.
one that they adapted into a movie in the mid 2000s. I'm just trying to think what the name of it is, and it's essentially these campers come to a town, and it's possessed by an evil force. I'm
Um,
trying to. It's like an old western town kind of town. Uh,
it's not The Strand, is it?
no, it's not
I
Strand.
actually don't know. I haven't seen some of those, like The Strand, but yeah, exactly, Zach. That The Thinner, the Stephen King book. That's exactly what I'm talking about. There's a movie too, from the 90s as well with that one.
List of adaptations. It's going to be mid 2000s.
Mm,
Um,
yeah. While you look that up, The Thinner was basically a guy who was a very ignorant guy that kind of, you know, did basically did something really wrong to a gypsy, you know, the classic I guess stereotype gypsy, and then the gypsy puts a curse on him, and he no matter how much he eats, he gets thinner and thinner and thinner. So
I can't think. It's not in the list on Wikipedia, but I'm
okay.
sure it's a Stephen King novel that got adapted into a movie. But it's essentially like they go to like this old like mining town or something. Um, it's very much like a Wolf Creek kind of feel to it. Like this evil possesses forces just go like sheriff of the town going around killing them. And then they have to go into like this old campsite to like eliminate the evil. I
I
kind of
can't think of it, but it does sound very Stephen King that
I
way.
kind
So
of think like if you approach that from a Wolf Creek Alien Isolation kind of way, that would make for like a really interesting experience.
hmm.
This is the problem. We don't really have like much other stuff that's like Alien Isolation. Um,
Yeah, yeah, well, I mean, I've said this a few times, but playing Resident Evil 7 in VR has been a delight. And I wish I had more of those games to play that would actually, you know, scare the pants off me, really, because Resident Evil 7's not really doing that, but it's just really interesting to see. So, yeah. So I imagine there's a market for that kind of thing. And we do have a couple of new games coming out, and the Bunker's just come out as well. But but yeah, so
man,
but
it's
yeah, so you're saying that you would want it in the style of
I
Alien
would
Isolation.
I would want like a Wolf Creek meets Alien Isolation. I
Mm,
think that would be like just running away from like one particular thing. Um,
okay.
well, I mean, you could have like a Telltale Misery. It kind of did.
Telltale Misery. Well, yeah, I guess that was kind of along the same lines as the thinner one that I was going for. Like, because
Yeah.
Vertigo is very, uh, I guess, along the same lines as a Telltale. So,
I really can't think of it right now. It's really bothering me. I'm gonna immediately think of what it is after the podcast.
you're gonna have to like clip it into the podcast.
Yeah,
No,
nah.
Matt's not gonna do that.
or Christine. We can have Christine. That would make for like a very interesting one.
So, what would you do, Christine, as then?
You just have like an upgradable car that just runs over people.
All right, cool. So, pimp my ride then.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
nice.
In my right
Cool.
horror. That's
You can ghost
100%.
ride the whip. It fits the
Yeah.
horror, genre to a T.
Anyway,
Nice
I'm
one.
gonna continue on before
All right,
we
I
get
think we
off
need to
on the
move
rails.
on.
Yep.
Exactly.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna quickly just go through the Xbox Games Gold and the Game Pass stuff. We
Yep.
had announcement of Darkwood and when the pass was around coming. Darkwood is July 1st, and when the pass was around July 16th. I've never heard of Darkwood before. I looked it up last night, and it sounds really interesting.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, I don't know.
Still in the theme of horror. I saw one big YouTuber essentially just describing it as a nice horror game without jump scares, which I can appreciate. It is a 30 to 35 hour completion.
That's huge.
Yeah, there's quite a few missables, so I'm kind of like how much repetition is in this. When the pass around was our friendly achievement hunter one with a 1 to 2 hour completion.
Yeah, okay.
I honestly don't know anything about that. In terms of Game Pass stuff, we had Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town, and Bramble hit. I heard really good things from a friend about Bramble. I'm going to get to it this weekend, hopefully. So I can talk about it on the show next week.
So Markiplier's played Darkwood, so we're fine.
Yeah, it should be pretty interesting to check out. It's just, completely slipped under my radar. We've got Arcade Paradise coming out July 3rd, Sword and Fairy Together Forever, July 6th, Exo Primal for July 14th, Tectonica, July 18th, Wandering Village coming out July 20th, I'm really interested in, depending on the achievement list. And Vemba, also very interested in, coming out July 31st. In terms of stuff leaving on June 30th, we have DJ Max Respect V, Empire of Sin, Matchpoint, Elijah, Mori, and Road 96.
Yeah. You don't have long left for them.
Okay. Zach is also calling out the fact that it may not be a Bluey game, which I've said multiple times that I want. But the Baby Shark game is coming. I'm sure you'll want it. I actually told my daughter this the other day, and she's like, no! And I'm like, what do you mean? You love Baby Shark. And she's like, no Baby Shark game. And then she walked away from me. So
and you're like, no Baby Shark, do.
Yeah. Actually, funny little side story. So we've got like one of those bath toys that's like you just put in the bath, it starts playing the tune. And for the last month or so, the batteries are just screwed in it. It's just one of those ones that requires screwdriver. I haven't been bothered to swap it over. But she's kept on it's kept on doing like a demented noise. Because it's obviously like it's getting the moisture from the air on the thing that's triggering it. So I'll go and take a shower, and then you just see like, it's the most demented sounding thing possible. But I can't crack up and laugh. Like it'll just do it for like 10 seconds, and it's just like, and then just flatline. But yeah, no Baby Shark game. 4-year-olds don't want it. Bluey game, yes. Baby Shark game, no.
Yeah, well, it's disappointing. I mean, like, how much Baby Shark can you milk, really? Like,
it'll come to Game Pass. That's fine.
Oh yeah, well, it'll be fine.
Eventually, maybe not day one, but eventually.
You'll play it with or without your daughter.
Yeah, well, that's I mean, I'll play it with my daughter. Sorry, I'll play it without my daughter, but I'll tell everybody that I played it with my daughter. Speaking of which, games that I actually did play with my daughter this week. So I had a little bit of extra time for Stephanie because of the school holidays, which was pretty good. So we decided to look at 2 cat-based games. These are from a studio called DevCats, which is a team of devs that love cats. Essentially, they're doing a Steam store page. I think their first one in August that I'm actually really excited for. But a building full of cats is essentially like Where's Wally, but with cats. And there's a whole
I saw the image of that that you posted.
It like really like, you know, $5, pass the controller to her, and essentially she'll just go through and click on, there's like hidden object kind of like, pull out the drawer, click on the cat that way. It's 6 or 7 pages of the same stuff, but it was really helping her hand-eye coordination when it came to like gaming, which I thought was pretty cool. The even cooler story though is there is a game essentially from the same people called Sudoku Cats, which is essentially what it sounds like. It's Sudoku but using cats. So you start off with a 4x4 grid, and you work your way up to like 6x6 and then 9x9.
Okay.
And then the 4x4 was essentially like white cat, black cat, orange cat, brown cat. So I just looked at Stephanie and I said, all right, honey, this is what you need to do. You've got 4 boxes here. You need to put one of each cat in the box. So then she would pick up the controller. She would do it. If it came up a mistake, it would just red outline the cat, so she immediately knew it was the wrong answer, and she would just pick another cat instead. But within like an hour, she knows how to play Sudoku now. Well, up to a 6x... The 9x9 was getting a bit difficult for her. But like doing 4x4 and 6x6 by just kind of like process of elimination, which I thought was really cool for a few bucks.
Okay. Are you moving the cats into position, or do you
it's like
just
it's
click?
It's normal Sudoku, but instead of numbers, you've got cats.
Okay, cool. So you just click, and it changes the cat.
So you just click the square, you pick the cat that corresponds with the number, and you do it that way. You can play it as normal Sudoku if you like. Obviously, I find it a lot easier to do normal numbers as opposed to cats.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because otherwise you go like, all right, there's a brown cat, there's a white cat, there's a blue cat. Just counting through. But I thought it was actually a really good experience. So I actually was really, really happy with it. I put a Twitter post up, and the team liked my status, which was pretty cool. I played another game called Railbound, which I'd seen quite a bit. It's essentially one of those like A to B puzzle games with obstacles in the way. So you get a certain amount of track. You need to build the track to the end path, and then make sure the train travels through there. Very simple, very easy to do. Did enough puzzles up until the point that, all right, this is getting a bit hard, and just switched over to a guide. Probably take you 2 hours. If you're using a guide, pretty easy game. On the theme of keeping things in pairs as well, Railway Islands, similar game, except you're putting down the tiles are already put down for you. You're essentially just swapping where the tiles are and building the path that way. Exact same concept as Railbound, except it's just a tile, like a hexagon-based grid. Looks very much like a Dwarf-Mantic kind of thing from like A to B aspect, though.
Yeah, okay.
Make sense? Cool.
Yeah, sure.
The other thing, Forza Horizon 2. Been going back and doing some of the Forza Horizon finale to try and get my money up to get the 20 million achievement. I am extremely pissed off that I don't know what studio it was. I think it falls under Sumo, but yeah, Xbox 360 servers are dead for Forza Horizon 2. I think Forza Horizon might be spotty, and Forza Horizon 2 on Xbox One might also be spotty, or at least have like half the functionality.
Yeah, that Rivals either worked or it didn't in that forever.
Everything's broken on 360 for 2 though, which I'm very frustrated about, because I've got one achievement that I need to get for the series completion, and obviously like they don't care. It's dead in the water.
Yeah, it's done.
It is what it is. I'm gonna forever be like one achievement away, but it would be really nice to claim that up. But yeah, the other 2 I'll do fine. And then finally Dante's Inferno, which we were talking about last night. I started the Trials of Saint Lucia DLC. I don't know what Matt's complaining about. It's easy. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I haven't done the
Like
EA trials yet.
you try working with a partner in co-op and coordinating in that game.
I look. I smashed out everything but the EA trials last night. I got
Mm.
a really good groove of just like push like getting it done.
Mm.
So yeah, probably gonna start the EA trials as soon as I can. I know Rapture was keen on potentially doing some.
Mm.
So hopefully we'll work out a timetable for that. And yeah, that's
Cool.
essentially what I've been playing for the week with a little bit of prototype here and there. Sorry,
Mm.
prototype 2.
Yeah, I see you logged into that
Yeah,
all
I
day.
got I
Yes,
got
for two
called
days, and
out.
I'm like, he's just sitting there.
I got called out. It's been a busy week preparing.
Mm.
So I had Steam Next Fest, and then I have Steam
Mm.
Summer Sale that I had to prepare for, as well as some
Mm.
other stuff. And then I get like a message just like, oh, actually, I got 2 messages this week about like prototype 2, and it was just like, um, I've just been sitting on the menu for 3 days. It's fine. Like,
Mm.
I'll wake up at 4 o'clock and I'll complete it. If you okay, but yeah, that's my week done. What about you?
Yeah, so my week started with going back and doing the last few things I needed to do in Watch Dogs 2
Yep.
because as I said last week, there were 3 glitch achievements and I had to just go back and play the whole story again. Um, One of the things that happened with them, it was just completing a DLC mission and it didn't pop for a third time. And I had to go and stay in the game, go delete my cloud save, and then come back in. And then
Yeah.
it reloaded the to main menu and loaded back in a mission that was previous to that. And then it was fine and I was done. So then I just had to go through the end of the game and then it was I thought it wasn't going to pop at the end of the game again, and I'd have to replay the final mission again, but it was 100% fine.
Yeah.
Outside of that, not much to say with this, but I started multiple Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 on the 360 just
Oh,
to kind
okay.
of kick into that because I was looking at my stuff going, I want something on the 360 to play that isn't on backwards compatible that I can kind of just kick through and say that I actually finished a 360 game. Um, yeah, and with that, I'm like, well, I have my 360 loaded up, so let's load up Destiny on the 360. So I loaded that up and started doing that again. I had to get a Titan, get his subclass completely leveled out. So I did that. I've only got the Warlock to level up the subclass. It's about halfway there.
Nice.
And that's the last character I think across both platforms I think I need. Maybe. I've got a lot of work to do on the one version, but then I just need to go in and do the DLC missions, which I haven't done. Which nice to do it with a buddy with that one, but it's just like because it's a little bit harder because it does go into the end game stuff.
Yeah.
Like versing 2 bosses at a time in one of the missions is kind of, annoying. It's just annoying. It takes like 30, 40 minutes sometimes if you're sitting in like a difficult mission. Yeah, so and that's that. Other than that, I loaded up Titanfall 2 and got the few online achievements with that. Just do that in a private lobby. I've started heaps of stuff. I went into The Witcher 3 and started the Blood and Wine DLC so I could get all of the Gwent cards out of the way. Wanted to get rid of
Oh man.
those. Because I'm just like, I just want the Gwent stuff out of the way
Hmm.
and then I can just enjoy the rest of it, you know? Um, but yeah, so and going back into that it's really nice. It's a
Yeah.
really nice looking game. In that Blood and Wine expansion, like Geralt calls it out going into the expansion where he's like, "Oh, this looks like a fairy tale," and does it's all like bright colors and everything, so it's kind of nice. I got my 500 wins, 500 matches in Fall Guys as
Yep.
well. So that's done. I only need to get 20 wins in races now, which I haven't
Oh.
got. That's the last thing.
I need
But
to just go back and get it done, but it's just
I,
one of those things that I keep
yeah,
forgetting.
I got like 3 or 4 wins in a day. Just sat there and just yeah, I don't know. It was a good time of the day. There wasn't many problems.
I think for
Um,
me, my problem is like I've got 250 like qualified rounds I've got to just do, and
Well,
smash
it
out.
was deceiving for me because I'd started it on PlayStation. So when it said I had 130 rounds left to do, I really only had like 20 because the Xbox statistics where it was
Wow.
saying 370, it didn't take into account the PlayStation stuff that I'd already gotten because I played it heaps with Kiku before. So on PlayStation when it came out. So obviously not enough. I didn't earn any of the trophies anywhere near as many as I should have before they shut that down. Um, yeah, I started Need for Speed Unbound as well, and as I said to you last night, the music in that is just horrendous.
I
It's the
it
worst
it
thing.
is honestly such.
Mm.
I don't think I've ever heard anything.
And I don't know what kind of crack Shane is on, but he enjoyed that
No, no,
music
no, no,
apparently. But
no. I mean,
yeah,
whatever he's smoking, I want to have
yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, bro, definitely help you with that game for sure. Like
It
man,
was.
the graphics in that are nice, but you really need to tone it down a little bit, I
I
think.
think mechanically, it's
Mm.
probably one of my favorite Need for Speeds.
Okay, okay.
Um, I feel like they're kind of getting into like a little bit of rhythm, but
Mm.
I really appreciate good like amazing soundtracks with my racing games, and
Mm.
this was not it.
Yeah, well, we just I kicked into the multiplayer stuff just to kind of get that out of the way because you basically start a whole separate character for multiplayer and you go in and you don't have to worry about um anything else. We just need to get the 8-player achievement out of the way now, I think.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
had one glitch on me that didn't unlock. So it was like the S class wins. Just
You're
doing
having
a
a
set
lot
for
of
that.
trouble glitching achievements lately.
Oh, I've been having a lot of trouble. Yeah, so many games. Um, but yeah, that's it for Need for Speed. I got my, because it's the last day of the month, the Microsoft Solitaire collection. I did all 30 days in June.
That's how you meant to
And
do it.
that's how you're meant to do it. And yeah, it's because it's just like I was sick last week, so I, for whatever reason, decided that in my crazy sickness, decided to start going through that. So, most of the month I just had to go back and do the days, but then I really had to make sure that I was on track every day doing the days leading up to the end of the month. It was fine. You still have to do all of the puzzles, um, unless you go by other means of
Yeah,
doing
I like
the
a bit of
puzzles.
solitaire, so
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's good. It's fun. It's really chill. So, and the last thing I was working on today is I'm nearly at the end of the Hot Wheels expansion for Forza Horizon 3.
Ooh,
So,
nice.
because everyone's going back and playing Forza 1 and 2, and I'm like, well, it's about time that I get this off my list
Yeah.
because it's just been way too long, and I've just been sitting in the Hot Wheels expansion going, I don't want to fucking do this expansion at all. And every single one of those, like the base game, the expansion, the first expansion, the Blizzard Mountain, and this one, you have to go through and do all of the championships. And I mean, it's so you complete all of the races, 100% everything, but then you have to go through each of those nodes and do the championships for each of them as well, which is 3 races. But luckily, I uh, I have somebody on my friends list that efficiently had the lowest distance and building like 3 tracks over and over again that you know minimized the work that he had to do, Mr. Shadowless Edge, and his 13K runs when everyone else had made tracks that were like 20, 30 kilometers. I'm looking at this going, yeah, he's just gone and done the same thing every time. And
Yep.
it's like 13K tracks. And I'll just I'll do the same 3 races over and over again. And a good thing is that you've got Hoonigan cars in there. So I'm knocking out my Hoonigan
Yep.
um, cars as well. So I'm like, I know exactly what he did. I'm going to do it. So
Forza Horizon 3 was like one of my favorites to just smash
hmm,
out.
yeah. So it will be good to go back into the base game because I've not actually played the base game. I just went in, I did it for a little bit, did the multiplayer stuff, and then started jumping into the DLC stuff and then just got to Hot Wheels and just decided no, I didn't want to do it. Even though that's the first thing I wanted to knock out, I never went and finished it off. So I just didn't like the Hot Wheels stuff. I've said that many times. So, but that's it. That's all I've been playing. It's a lot, but good progress. Good progress on a lot of that stuff.
There's
So
a lot of indies I'm going to get into this weekend. All right, let's quickly just smash through the Hug leaderboard. Third this week is a Shadowless Edge at 6,690. Then we've got a Mephisto for the win at 7,205. Nice to see you back there, Mephisto. And then we've got a Jimbot UK 9,005 for the week. Quickly going through the completions, we have Mango, FIFA 14, 16, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist. Rapture, Naraka Blade Point, which is very impressive. Elijah, Road 96, and some baby games. Super Bob with Wrecking Zone. Perk with Day of the Tentacle Remastered. Dodongi. I know it's a new Game Pass game. I'm just not sure about the pronunciation. Besiege. Todd got Need for Speed Hot Pursuit done. Matt got Ni no Kuni 2 done. GT the Moon Zom got Exopunks done. Bottle Sharks got Man Eater done, which I love. And then Monster and Left 4 Dead. I think it's Left 4 Dead Pills here. Both got Elijah done.
Yep.
So yeah, very nice.
Cool.
And then so we're done completion. Obviously the word challenge might be a little bit difficult because Matt has not told me what the answer is or give me a clue this week. So chase him up, please. Poke him multiple times, and hopefully he answers.
So maybe you'll get a new one in the update, or you'll get a clue, maybe.
Yeah, cool.
So
all right, quickly just going through our Patreon. Love all our Patreon members who support us because essentially they keep the lights running for the show. Going straight through, we have Lee Howard, Mikhail KV, Natalator, Mad Lefty 2097, Admiral Awesome, Heavy Moogles, Kung Fu Skills, Hack and Pone, Cavalier 07, Old Me Clan, Mark B, McLoving Legend. So once again, thank you for all the support, and pretty much going to close out the show. Discord, we have discord.io/holygamers if you want to come join us. If you want to jump into one of our boosting sessions, if you want to talk games with us, if you want to ask a question, we're mostly pretty friendly. Mostly.
Yeah, come do some co-op. Play some Redfall with me.
Yeah, come do some co-op. I like how every single I've without a fail for so many weeks heard come do some Redfall with me, and it's the one game I'm not gonna start. I'm not gonna fall in this trap. Cool. Like I said before, Twitch, we're live each week on Xbox All the Gamers. Follow us, tell your friends. Word of mouth is the easiest way to get the show going for us. If you want to contact us, you can contact us at hallofgamerspodcast@gmail.com. I actually do check it. Or Hall of Gamers Pod on Twitter. You can help us by subscribing on iTunes and other podcast platforms like Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, leaving a review, telling your friends, retweeting our tweets. You can also write the questions into the show, like I said, like a good friend Isaac, and we will get to them in the next episode. Keo.
Good stuff.
Where can we contact you?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at KeoLiveAtHome and on Twitch at KeoLiveAtHome. You can also see my VODs from my streams over at HTFG Play on YouTube. You can ask Zach how good my Resident Evil 7 run is, because I'm doing that and Final Fantasy 16 over there. Not Xbox games, but I'm going to do Wolong after that maybe, so come check that out. So
very cool. And if you want to get a track of me, I'm Shadowless Edge on Twitter, Shadowless Edge _ on Twitch. I've been streaming quite a bit lately. I've just had too much priorities just pop up, but hopefully this weekend I might just drop some hours in. We'll see. And then just Shadowless Edge on Discord, because you can have proper usernames now, so that wasn't confusing at all. But that's pretty much going to close up the show. Thank you guys in chat for watching. Thank you, Zach, Todd. Thank you, Killanubis. Bulbasaur, if you're still here. Really appreciate it. And I guess we will see you guys next week.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for watching.
Bye for now.